out of clay. To make it soft, a special clay is heated, then applied to a plastic underframe. This type of clay was originally used in Hollywood to make film sets. Ever since 1927, it's also been used to build automobiles. Every detail will look as genuine as possible. Everyone wants a realistic impression of what the final design will be. After careful sculpting, skin-tight sheets are added. The model makers have to work very carefully. The sheeting tears easily. When they're through, the car will look real. Clay and plastic will seem like glass and steel. This is the shape of a billion-dollar gamble. This is the car BMW is counting on. While Adrian van Hooydonk designed the exterior of the car, it's now the job of Boik Boyer to push it through to completion.
When you're chosen to make a car like this, you naturally have a lot of sleepless nights. You want to create a real highlight, something genuinely special. And you know that you'll probably never get another chance like this.
Boyer is one of BMW's most experienced designers. Even for him, this new car is an enormous challenge. The pressure is immense.
Naturally, you're very highly motivated and say to yourself, we need this kind of car. You'd like it to be a success, and your team wants the same thing. And then you start to hear the first comments. Is that really necessary? And then you're not quite so sure of yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Maybe it should have a completely different look. But you can't play around with all the possibilities because there is such a tight time schedule.
With all the work that's been done to this point, the car still doesn't have the green light to actually be produced. BMW's board of directors is about to see the model. They'll decide if it's good enough or whether the designers will have to start all over. Munich, Germany. For the first time, the board of directors at BMW will see a full-size model of their new sports car. This is the moment the designers have been waiting for. The board will either approve the design or send Boik Boyer and his team back to the drawing board.
Showing the model to the directors for the first time is really an experience. When that sculpture gets unveiled and the directors start going, ooh, ah, well then you know they don't really have to say anything. You know you've made it.
It's the reaction Boik Boyer is looking for. The board has decided the new sports car is going ahead. But it's not full-bore production yet. There are still changes to be made. Still hidden are tiny mistakes that haven't been found. All eyes turn now to the inside of the car, especially the dashboard. It's one of the most complicated parts of the car. Like the exterior, the designers need a full-scale model to examine. It takes weeks, but the dashboard is finally ready. Here, mere millimeters count. It's a mix of art and function. If it looks good, but it's hard to use, the design will be scrapped. It's a struggle for Dave Karp, who designed the interior. But it's also a moment of opportunity. For the first time, he sits inside the car he dreamed up. BMW has decided to make both a hardtop and a convertible version of this model, calling one the E63 and the other the E64. Today, they're deciding whether the convertible roof should be made of fabric or steel. Hardtop roofs that can fold back out of sight are very popular. But a fabric roof will make the car lighter and create more room in the trunk. To help the designers make the decision, 5 different models have been created in the computer. The basic hardtop model, then convertibles with various hardtop roofs, and finally, a convertible with a fabric roof. With the roof up, it doesn't look like a convertible at all. The fabric roof eventually gets the nod, but it will be a new kind of fabric. With this many cooks stirring the pot, conflicts are inevitable. Even with the fabric roof, the design of the rear of the car hasn't left enough room for the battery. It's a classic conflict between the needs of design and the demands of engineering. Changes are coming. The designers don't want to budge, but the engineers are firm. Both sides try to find a solution. With the exterior and interior gradually taking shape, it's time for Annette Baumerster and her team to start working. It's her job to add a dash of style and elegance to the car. A feeling of luxury will make it easier to sell.
As the designer responsible for colors and materials, I draw my inspiration from museums and galleries. And then naturally we go into the stores and look at consumer goods. There we get ideas about the ways materials can be used and how they can be combined. You need a really good antenna to pick up all the stylistic vibes in the air. And you need a good imagination to turn these vibes into something real. But we also draw inspiration from classic cars. What did people use back in those days? Are there interesting materials? What actually is an automobile? You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You just have to see things in a different light and combine them in new ways.
Yeah.
You need a good nose for things like that.
The heart of a good car may be its engineering, but its soul is its sense of style. Over coffee, Baumerster makes early choices about color and fabric. Then it's back to the office. Everything from the type of leather to the choice of seat fabric is up to her and her team. They hope their combination of experience and inspiration will help design a one-of-a-kind car. She takes the preliminary choices back to the clay model of the car. Not only the exterior, but much of the interior is now put together. Her biggest concern is with some of the colors that have been picked. Ideas that seem fine while out in the museums and cafes don't look so good now that they're in the car. She has a major problem with designer Dave Karp. He wants a beige strip to flow across the top of the dashboard. It's an idea that poses a serious problem. In bright sunshine, it would reflect in the windshield, making it difficult to see. The beige strip has to go. Dave Karp will have to live with it. Once he saw the model, complete with the color he chose, it was clear he had to change, and he knew it.
So the best thing to do is to find a compromise where I can give the effect that the lines are all continuous and dynamic. We don't want to make a design which annoys people. It's supposed to be harmonious and beautiful. We made this model. We put in a windshield. We tested it with different kinds of colors here to see what would be reflecting. And yes, there would have been a problem. So we made this color break here. In the end, it turned out it had to be reduced even more to make sure that the driver absolutely would have no problem with it. But I think we're happy with the result. Well, I'd like to take a look at the color break near the A-pillar here in the instrument panel.
Karp shows the compromise to Chris Bangle, head of design.
Oh, it looks nice. Great. You like it?
Yeah, this was it, huh?
Yep. You know, we got normally on the darker colors, this band runs all the way through here.
Yeah.
On the lighter colors, we had to break it to avoid the reflections.
Well, that was kind of pre-seeing, right? Reflections.
Right. We want to avoid any annoying reflections in the windshield.
Okay, but in the dark colors it runs. Yeah,
No.
but still you get the whole effect.
That's the point.
Yeah,
That's the point.
I mean, that's pretty.
Okay.
That's nice.
So you can live with that.
Yeah. There's a dark shadow under it, you know, here, the break here right in front of the top runs through, and I think that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, we normally have that right now.
In a special room, more choices are being made about the car's interior. Various colors of fabric and leather are examined under different lighting conditions. Something that looks fantastic in bright sunshine can seem depressing on a rainy day, then great again under artificial light. Choosing exactly the right colors will be critical to success. But the quest for ultimate comfort goes far beyond picking the right colors. Engineers make a computer model of a person, then add that to the design of the car. Will drivers feel comfortable? Can they reach the controls? Will they be able to drink their coffee?
The computer is necessary so that we can check as much as possible using simulation. Now we have to take into consideration the fact that people come in different sizes. Our data bank provides for 90% of all human sizes. Only the largest and smallest 5% aren't included. But ergonomics can make life easier for the vast majority of drivers. And that's what really fascinates us about ergonomics. We defend the customer's interests and can really make their lives easier.
Everything has to be located intelligently and be easily accessible. Whether you're closing the trunk, filling the tank, or shifting. A focus of concern is the central console. The designers have crammed a lot into this tiny space. Next to the gear shift and the handbrake, there's a cup holder, a telephone, and space for storage. Tiny changes are made to make the console easier to use. To test these changes, the interior of the car goes for a ride. The models of the dashboard and console are placed inside a test car. Every time the driver moves or uses a control, it gets recorded by 4 cameras. The driver is also observed by an engineer who's tagging along. If even the slightest problem turns up, the team gets to work eliminating it. At the same time, another engineering team has found an enormous mistake. One which will mean changing the very look of the car. BMW is betting millions of dollars on a brand new sports car. They want it on the road soon. But after months of design and approval from the board of directors, a serious flaw has just been uncovered. At BMW headquarters in Munich, designers have continued to tinker with the look of the car's roof. What they thought were tiny changes have had a dramatic result. 2 red shells simulate the heads of passengers in the back seat.